morning, everybody, and welcome to, or good afternoon, actually.
Yeah.
Welcome to Talking Horses. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, as we get ready to kick off the weekend. Gotham Week slider scratched out of the Gotham. I don't know if you saw that. I think West Point tweeted that. Foot bruise.
Okay.
Sorry, shipped all the way from California. I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry
Yeah, it's
for them.
unfortunate.
Yeah. But anyway, still be a 12-horse field. A good card tomorrow. Excited about that, and good to see you.
Yeah, you remember last year's Gotham, right?
How could I forget it?
You had...
I smoked out the winner. It was my last winner.
At what price?
$50.
Yeah.
I watched the race outside with Eric Donovan, and because we weren't in the air that day, and we couldn't see a thing out there. And I could just tell there was one horse way ahead of the field, and he was coming towards us. We were in the winner's circle, and I said, gee, I really hope that's the 11. That would be really good for me. And Eric goes, oh, look, it's the 11. And I said, wow, that's really great. Yeah, that was good. But I did not pick a 25-1 shot tomorrow.
Okay.
Ray's Kane. He turned out to be a good horse. Yeah, I imagine he should be coming back. I feel like he ran in the Malibu. I don't think he's run since, but imagine maybe they'll come back around Keeneland time. You should put him to Carter. Run him here. He's done so well here. Why wouldn't you want to run him here?
Yeah, good point.
Loves the Big A. Who doesn't love the Big A? It's our home.
It's become home away from home for me.
Yes.
It has.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have been here quite a bit, and obviously we'll be here until, except for Saratoga. I was up in Saratoga this week. It's gorgeous.
A little preview. You just wanted a preview?
It was like mid-60s on Tuesday. I was walking downtown with a sweater on. It was hot. Yeah, it was nice. Took a little walk.
We're going to be there very soon.
You know, my greatest fan, who never misses a word I say, gets very angry when I talk about French movies, but the French Film Festival is now going on, which I love.
In Saratoga?
No, in New York at Lincoln Center.
Oh, okay.
And I saw a movie called Animal Kingdom last night that's really, really wild.
So this has no tie-in to what we were just talking about? Oh, this is
No,
totally
but I
okay.
like, because my biggest fan loves it when I talk about French
didn't know where
movies,
you
and
were
so I
weaving
want to
to.
talk about them as much. I kind of, I'm big on...
Okay.
But Animal Kingdom, it's about a disease where a virus or something apparently, where people are turning into animals, different animals, all different kinds of animals.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a little weird at the beginning. It sort of takes a while, but it was really good, actually. It was a big hit in France, actually, I think.
I'm into it. I'm going to put it on the list.
I think it's coming out, actually, really soon in America. So there you go. But there'll be plenty more updates, because I'm going to a lot of movies next week. So when I get back Thursday and Friday, it's going to be
Can't wait.
all French films all the time.
All right.
I'll interject it during the show. Excited about the card today? Excited?
Yeah, I love that, that last race is an awesome race. I love that we're closing it out strong.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think there's some very competitive races.
And I'm excited because a friend of mine has some Oaklawn steam today, and I show you the horse, and you like the horse too. So tune in to the show today, and Greg and I will be talking about Oaklawn.
Yeah, we start on FS1 today.
We do. 3 to 4:30 in FS1, and then 4:30 to 6, I believe, on FS2. Anyway, head over to Naira Bets. This is going to throw you bonus 200. It's no longer match 200, it's bonus 200. I actually really do like that picture. Go over to NairaBets.com, sign up. We will match with $200 of your initial deposit. Head over to Naira Bets as well and check out the track stats over at Naira Bets as well. We also have a cross-country Big Five, as we do every day, Oaklawn and Aqueduct as well. Starts at 4. The last 6 and 7 and 8 here, and 8 and 9 here, including the 8th that we'll talk about in the show in a few minutes. And the show, as we mentioned, 3 to 4:30 on FS1, 4:30 to 6 on FS2. Race number 1. Now, this is a race with a ton of form. I mean, it's hard to decipher which one of these stakes-looking horses you want to take. So we're going to start with Mamba Gigi. By the way, I just ran to Pat Reynolds.
Yeah.
And there's that thing, you run into somebody, they win. You've got the worst third eye of nowhere. Sorry, Pat. I got to tell you something. This was great. I felt terrible for Pat. And he told me he would have made a couple dollars if the horse had won.
20 to 1.
I know. This was a brutal beat, but this was also a racetrack that was extremely kind to speed, and he still lost in a very slow race, or she did. And I'm just going to bet there's somebody better than her. But
yeah, I mean, first of all, shout out to Kobe and his lovely daughter, Gigi.
Oh, is that what it is? Is it a
Memory
Kobe
here.
Bryant
Mamba
thing?
Gigi, yeah, unfortunate. We'll see. Second time out, maybe that speed does last in this spot. There's some other interesting ways to go, I thought, in here. And you have the horse second. I
feel like it's sort of a cop-out. That's why I didn't put it on top.
Okay.
It's going to be favored just because.
The 2?
Yeah. A first-time starter with a little, is a have to, what is it, say something? What is the horse's name? Is it sing something?
Sing Dixie Sing.
Sing Dixie Sing.
6-time winner who was a minor stakes winner, Sing Dixie Sing. And also a 4-time winner who was a first out winner in stakes placed.
And 6 horses that couldn't outrun you and I in a horse suit.
Yes, and then the second dam as well was a grade 3 winner on
Turf
dirt.
horse. Turf horse,
Multiple
too.
graded 6 winner on turf.
Yep.
Megan's Bluff. So there is pedigree there, and has at least done nothing wrong to this point, as they say, and we don't know how they did it in those works, but that work 2 back maybe has a little bit of talent.
And it's done about as much right as anybody else in this field,
Right,
because
exactly.
nobody's done it. I was going to pick this horse, and I just thought, I'm not going to cop. Rob Atras is good with first-time starters. They often have speed. I got no argument. To argue against that horse in this race would be ridiculous. I was looking at War Terminatrix. We are still waiting for Gary Contessa to win a race other than a grade stake. Do you know that for over a year, because last year he had 2 wins, they were both in grades. They're the right races to win.
Hopeful in Schuylerville.
Yeah, bookends, basically.
This one actually, there's some so we're talking about the 6 here right now. The dam was 0 for 5, but produced 2 first out winners, both on grass.
It's all turf, though. Yeah.
But did produce 3 dirt winners, all lower level claiming races.
Dancer on the
But the
dirt.
second dam too had a 92 buyer in the second start of the career on dirt. That was a win at Santa Anita, and then actually crossed the wire first in a minor stake at Sunland, but got DQ'd in that race. But so there's at least a little interesting pedigree.
Except it's a war dancer, and you're going to go broke betting those horses sprinting on the dirt. But listen, I'm not to knock a firster in this field. As far as La Decente, I figure the horse will be a decent enough price. Gets a rider switched, Eric Cancel. Broke a little slow last time. Was down towards the inside. I didn't think the inside was bad that day, but it might have been a little bit better being off. But probably was a fair track where the rail was good. I just thought maybe a second-time starter dropping down for a trainer that occasionally gets him to go to prices, taking a bit of a shot. Nothing really to go on. Okay. Ran well enough relative to these horses that of the ones that ran, that's the one I'll take.
All right, we should have asked. We've had Carlos Martin on the show a couple of times. Tweeted out a picture, I believe it was yesterday, so maybe it was his grandfather's birthday, but of his Hall of Fame plaque. This horse showed speed against better briefly. Mm-hmm. Now blinkers go on and
Carlos
drops.
Been on a good run.
Yeah.
He's been run a couple of races, and he won with that maiden. And he mentioned to us when he was on the desk with us, he thought that horse would run better. I think that was it was on Sunday, right?
I told you, he didn't tell me.
He said it right there. You probably just weren't listening. You were probably actually doing your job while I was just kibitzing with Carlos. Horse won, I think on was it Sunday?
Okay.
I don't remember. Was I here? No, I was in, and I picked it second. The one horse, whatever. It was last week. Race number 2. Big scratch in race number 2 with Poppy's Pride coming out, because not only does it take out a major contender, but it alters the running. I love the Mount Rushmore at Gulfstream. I want to know. One day I'll find out what Mount Rushmore has to do with Gulfstream Park. One day.
Well, it's on the Mount Rushmore of tracks, right?
Sphinx. You've been to Mount Rushmore?
I've not. My dream one day is to go there and spend 4th of July there.
Really? I went there. My family took a trip out west when I was a kid for 6 weeks. My mom and I were talking about it the other day and things we remember from it and different things. You ever been to Carlsbad Caverns?
No.
They have the show where you sit outside, and people may have been there, and like at dusk, like a zillion bats come flying out of the thing. Yeah, I remember it well as a kid. Anyway, I digress. So the horse you have on top, Honorary Degree, certainly has some appeal as the new face dropping down here, shipping in for Juan Carlos Guerrero, and will go to his win 2 races back. I think he's the horse to beat, but don't you think the scratch of Poppy's Pride isn't good for him because it takes out speed from the race, and you probably wanted a little pace to help him?
I still think it's not just Airport going to be alone in front. I think striking speed can put a little pressure on. This horse, to me, has just run. He ran figures at Keeneland, Oaklawn, and Churchill, and I know it was a couple of years ago, that are all faster this entire field. But his most recent races, throw out that last race that was coming back off the bench, muddy sealed track, 2, 3, 4 starts back. Those figures not that far off those huge races he ran a couple of years ago. You look who he beat 2 starts back, C. Trident. That was a horse who was competitive at Gulfstream. And I know you got to go a little further back in the PPs for that horse, but he actually ran a 95 buyer September of 22 when he won 4 in a row.
So why is Marshall Graham shipping him here to get claimed? Because he will get claimed. I mean, he's gone. He's going
they
for
wanna win.
10,000.
Sure.
Yeah, they want to win, and I get it. He's getting older. I get it. He's the worst to beat. I don't have a problem with it.
6 of his last 7 starts are all faster than anyone in here.
I do not agree with
believe.
you that there's going to be pace in here. I think there's one speed horse, and it's Airport. And I'm going to be honest with you.
He's quick, yeah.
Rudy Rodriguez had 2 speeds in the last race. They rated this horse so the other speed could be in front. You can't rate Airport. You can't. It's just ridiculous to rate him. He is gone. Now listen, he might be completely devoid of any talent at this point, but today is the day where Ruiz is just going to send him, and he'll go as far as he can, and with the scratches, I put him on top. I have no problem with the 4. I just don't need him with less pace in the race. And is the 1A really going to be a heavy favorite in here? Or
No.
Well, he was the one they were betting, though, right? They weren't betting the plain 1, were they?
Yeah, he's probably, I think, slightly more. Both had a chance. I was super against Sunrise Journey, though. I mean, that's a horse who was, he was competitive against the Chosen Vron not that long ago, but his speed is gone.
I didn't want him at all. And listen, striking speed can be forward, but I don't know. Jacobson claims for 12, but who knows with Jacobson? It's just Mr. Random. But
yeah, I thought there was a lot to like with Honor Degree, and yes,
he's a horse to beat. Yeah,
Airport. I just don't trust him hanging out. Chuck Willis, that race 2 back, that horse is lightning quick, so we can forgive him that race. But
he came back and did not run well, right? Chuck Willis, 3rd start. He won his next start. I just don't. I want to give him one more chance. He was awful 2 back, but he got involved with Chuck Willis, who ran a 90 buyer in his next start, and then they rated him last time. You can't rate a horse like this. You just
we were
have
on
to
together
go.
for that. We couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to just let him go. Now listen, they may let him go. He may be 3 lengths in front, a quarter mile of the race, and 4 lengths behind when they hit the top of the stretch. I mean, I'm not going to be shocked by anything he does, but I want to give him one last chance to try to wire a field. Race number 3, a lot of funny stuff going on in race number 3. And I actually want to start with a horse that we don't have in our top 4, but I think is kind of the funniest horse in the race, and that's Badge of War.
Yeah.
This is supposed to have to Mandaloon, right?
Kentucky
He's a
Derby winner.
Warfront have to Mandaloon that Juddmonte dumped for $50,000 in a sale. And not only that, Brad Cox, and I think he knows who Mandaloon is. He's heard of him?
Yes.
He ran him on the turf twice, including this 3rd place finish. It just feels to me like the chances that this horse can run in the dirt are 0.
I agree with you. But still,
He's a funny horse,
There could be a lot of eyeballs on this horse with that pedigree.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he could just show up a little bit. It's not like he has a ton to beat in this field.
If you want to have to a Derby winner for $40,000, you can bring him home.
First of all, that would have been a much better year for me had Mandaloon won that race.
I picked Medina Spirit, so I have 0 sympathy for you at all. I don't feel any, and I don't really believe that anything that happened had anything to do with his victory. I know you don't think that either, but Mandaloon, he won the Haskell, right?
He actually got pretty good first couple of starts of his 4-year-old campaign.
He got put up. He got put up when he got put up, right? He got put up in the Derby and the Haskell. Did they take down Hot Rod Charlie in the Haskell? Put him up.
Ooh, you might be right.
Put up in 2 big races. So, Venge, you've decided to go with experience here.
Look,
He could win,
the
obviously.
one who you picked on top, it's almost like a throw-out race. He had a terrible break and he got squeezed.
No,
I
he
can
might
always
suck.
throw out the debut for sure.
He might suck, the one.
Labar is a horse that had that huge performance, and then he can't run anymore. It
What's
seems
up
like
with him?
That's the most bizarre horse maybe we've seen this entire meet.
We should have Keenan Thompson, on Saturday Night Live, who's my favorite person on Saturday Night Live. What's the thing? What's up with that? What's up with that?
That is a perfect what's up with that.
We should have gotten like a clip of him saying that when we got to Labar and just what's
one
up
of
with
my
that.
favorite skits, by the way.
He's the greatest.
Huge in his debut at Keeneland against a very good field. Mulliken was in there, who won with a 91 buyer, but yeah, maybe he just can't run anymore.
And he runs in the maiden race, and he doesn't lift a hoof, and now he's in for 40. And he'll probably run better, but I ain't picking him.
Look, Venge to me is a horse that at least is somewhat trustable in this spot and has run decent enough figures where he may not have to improve to win in this spot.
He didn't run that badly last time, honestly, relative
I agree.
to these.
He was 5 wide chasing this. He was 5 wide early, and then I think 4 wide going around the turn. And Heroes Medal, what was that performance from that winner Rice horse?
He's in a very interesting allowance race tomorrow where I don't think he's impossible.
That
Claire
horse
Quilty. I was wrong about Claire Quilty. Claire Quilty is not the protagonist of Lolita.
Okay.
Umbert is, and Querculti's the guy who chases after him. Peter Sellers plays him in the movie. James Mason plays, for those of you that have seen the movie and not read Nabokov. I had the characters mixed up. Listen, I've got him fourth. I think he can win. I frankly,
And
go
maybe
ahead.
he could be somewhat forward too.
I
in this
can't
field?
imagine in this field he'll be that far behind. You don't really know. I mean, it's impossible to be confident of anybody being forward in this race at all. You don't know the firsters. I wonder if Rudy's firster, I always take a look at these Rudy horses. He's actually got some pedigree, King of France, with Silvera. I wouldn't be surprised if the first, if he has speed. I found a stat for Chad Brown. I was looking up first-time stars and maiden claimers on the dirt, okay? Dirt sprints. He's 1 for 11 over the last 5 years. This is the 3 upside potential. 3-year-olds and up, he's 0 for 7. And he's 0 for 3 with 4-year-olds and up. And this is a 4-year-old.
There's some pedigree there, though.
Well, sold, yeah, it didn't sell for that much money, $90,000. You know how much? I mean, those stats sort of remind me of when he debuted Pattern Recognition, who eventually won the cigar and the Kelso. I said, you're like 1 for 17 in with 4-year-old firsters and dirt sprints. And
It's
he
nice
said,
of you to remind him.
soon to be 2 for 18. He said he probably wanted about even money.
Produced a 6-time winner, Dirt Monster, who was a multiple stakes winner. Produced a 13-time winner, OLB.
And 4 horrendous horses.
Okay. Second Dam was a first out winner who started 5 for 5 with 3 stakes
She was
wins.
pretty
Became a
good.
multiple graded stakes place
good, yeah.
runner. So there is some upside potential there with this first.
I like the name.
Yeah.
It's a great name. Upside Potential is a great name. I really like that one. I took Golden Scarlet. By the way, do you know what's kind of interesting and fun about Golden Scarlet?
Rutgers horse.
Look who's riding.
Ooh, back in town.
He's
Joel.
he's riding tomorrow for the Gotham. Also, congrats to Joel. He's been nominated to the Hall of Fame. I'm considering voting for you, Joel. I haven't decided yet. My vote is definitely up there. I don't know if this horse can run. He took no money. He was in a very good field. He broke a length slow. He
Had a bad
steadied
bad
out
start. He
after
got
that.
squeezed.
But he just was bad after that.
Yeah.
But you know what? He at least hasn't disgraced himself completely, and I figured, why not welcome Joel back with a pick? It's more of an anti-pick than anything else,
Okay.
I
thought the 6 was a little interesting. The Dam was primarily a synth runner, but produced a horse named Osmodeus.
2 of the 5 horses were okay.
Yeah, ran a 93 buyer in the second start on dirt, produced 4 multiple winners, and then the second Dam was a multiple stakes winner on dirt at Woodbine.
Well, why not? I mean, this is the race to have somebody. Because
Yeah.
this is one of the funniest groups you'll see combined.
Yeah, is there ever going to be more eyes on a horse who's an 0 for 2 maiden switching from turf to dirt?
Half to Mandaloon can be yours for 40,000. Race number 4. Race number 4. This is a fun race. So let's start in here with Natural Harbor, who does look like probably the speed. I don't know. I feel like this horse has lost its short prices, and these are the kind of horses I like to let beat me, though obviously he can win. He can wire the field.
Most of his starts, and this is a horse that used to be with Tom Amos, then goes to Will Walden, but pretty
Tom
consistent
Amos.
on dirt until last time. And I didn't, even if you go back and look, you can't tell with this fractious at the break and what was going on in there. But apparently was not settled early.
Yeah, he
Horses
totally blew the
usually
break
forward.
and didn't run, but
So
I'll give him a
potentially is a throwout because, aside from that, and it's not like the numbers stand out in any way, but the horse shows up and at least runs his race outside of that one.
I don't disagree. I think he's the horse to beat. I don't know how much pressure is he going to take. Is the 1A going to put pressure? Is Borletti going to put pressure on him? We'll get to him, but why don't we talk about Return of the Ring, who you like?
Yeah, so that race 2 back gets this huge number that makes you think, oh, this is some huge outlier race. At least thoroughgraph-wise, this is actually a number that's right in line with a race that he's run 3 times in his career before.
I don't love that he was on the rail last time, which was the place to be.
So I looked at that, yeah. And, Kentucky Joker, I know he spent pretty much the whole race of the backstretch on the rail,
Don't
but then he
remind
did
me.
go
This
wide.
horse beat me.
But I like the
still
fact
can't
that
believe he lost that race.
he still fought to the end. So I thought you look at that race, it's deceptive that he ran maybe a little bit better than it looks. And yes, you're right, he was on the inside, but he still fought a little bit until the very end. He was still in it, and then the horse he just said, let's not push on with it. We're not going to win this race. He beat Red DGP, who came back and won yesterday. I know he wasn't the same Red DGP in that race. But to me, he has some races. I'm just wondering what Lane Leslie's going to do, because it looks like some of his really good races, he actually can sit and stalk.
He's going to have to rate, yeah. But I don't. But he won rating 4 races back. I mean, I don't.
No, I want to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's impossible. I thought he was a player in here. Listen, we've both left out Blue Plate Special. We'll take a look at his last race. I mean, aren't you a little afraid if he runs his last race? Isn't he going to be very tough in here? I want to
just
see
don't
it to believe it.
trust that
And
race
right,
at
I missed him at 11-1 last time. I'm not going to take him at a much shorter price and a tougher spot. But
Who was this Barnes horse yesterday, too? It would run 2 out-of-this-world races and then fell off a cliff yesterday from this barn and then got beat again yesterday.
no, he ran third yesterday, beating the nose for second.
No,
I needed
but
him
the
for
race
second.
before that,
Yeah, I needed him for second yesterday.
it
But
fell off a
thanks for
cliff.
bringing that up. I appreciate that. Yeah, I need him for second.
A
I did
horse like
9.8.
this,
Yeah, it was a
not only did
$140 exacta. But thank you, I appreciate it.
Not only did he run
Nice guy.
out of this world outlier race, but he's coming back quick, too. That was February 17th.
13 days ago, he's going to beat me. I
Yeah.
agree. But to deny how well he ran last time, I think would be foolish. What about the entry? I mean, I don't think either one half of the entry is impossible. I'm shocked that David left both of them in here. I hate entries. You and I are against them, but Uncle George never wins. He has been broke last time, but I still don't trust him to break, and he just never wins. I just don't want this entry at a short price.
Yeah, I don't think he's probably not going to win, but at least Uncle George, I think, of these runners in here, he's going to show up and he gets a piece of it.
I agree.
And he will get a piece of it today. I think he's reliable in that respect.
So Borletti. He was a little against the track last time. The rail was good. He did make an outside move to win it. This is obviously a tougher field, but Sharpaz came back and ran actually pretty well at a very, very big price in his next start and claimed by Rick. And I've always liked this horse. I mean, I have a thing for him. And I thought it was a very interesting claim by Mike Dubb and Rick Dutrow. And I'm not sure how much he really has to improve. And I thought he'd be sitting outside Natural Harbor and he would just beat that one. That was basically my feeling. Because Natural Harbor always seems to find somebody to beat him. And I'm hoping he proves a little bit. And if he does, I think he can win.
I'm with you. If he runs either of those 2 wins of the last 3 starts, and Blue Plate Special doesn't run this off the charts thing that was an outlier race from last time, he probably can win. It was for 25 non-winners of 2. It was for maiden 20.
I agree.
I don't quite trust it. I want to see it against this kind of
He's
level
got to
of
run better,
competition.
I think, to win it. I'm going to hope that he does. It's a fun race.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for the first 4. We'll be back with the late pick 4 after a quick break.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Greg Wolf and Andy Serling. Race number 5, where Good Penny came out and Sister Linda came out. I'm going to show Run Devil's race from last time out, where she finished second. I didn't pick her on top, Greg. I didn't see if you did. I think she's the worst. She's the worst to beat, isn't she? Kind of to run down and beat, especially with a 5 scratch. Doesn't she control in here?
Yeah, she is. She's going to be forward in here. Yeah, it was a big scratch that kind of helps her in this spot. We actually have the same selection in here.
It's very exciting.
Yeah. Been first or second, 10 over 24 starts.
Surprised she didn't scratch.
I don't know. I felt that. I just thought there was more upside with the 6. And I think the 6 can be, for some reason,
She should be stalking, right?
should be more forward. She has sprint speed. And
She
for
should
some
be
reason, she
stalking.
was nowhere close last time.
Katie has to be stalking with this horse. She has to be. She doesn't have to be crazy aggressive, but should be stalking. I agree. I just thought she was a logical horse. I didn't have anything clever to say in this race.
Drops down a little bit, too. I just feel like, too, she's not one of these. There's several in this field who've had so many starts. She's relative. This is her 9th career start, and we've seen with her steady progression, from start to start to start. She just matched the best figure of her career. So I think she's moving in the right direction and not taking 20, 30, 40 starts to do it.
I don't think she's going to be the 3rd choice. I think she's going to vie for favoritism with the 4.
Really? Okay.
I think, maybe I'm wrong here. I mean, is she real? The thing about the race is, especially with the scratch of the 5, and maybe that would have affected David's line if he had a chance. I don't know what price he had the 5. I don't think she was
8-1.
Right. I don't think she was that short, but from a tactical standpoint, she added a little speed to the race. You look at horses like the 4 and 6, and let's say our 4 choices are your contenders, and they're the short prices. Both the 2 and 7 are compromised by the lack of pace. And the scratch of the 5 helps the 4 and arguably helps the 6 and arguably isn't beneficial to either the 2 or 7. And while Halo City's in good form, she's still Halo City. And I wanted to pick Mia Be a Star in here because I wonder if she's going to run better for Bruce after giving her some more time. But she's a little tough to trust too, and she's pace dependent. And claiming horses from Randy Persaud has never been an easy thing to do successfully.
I think that, this is one of the rides with Katie Davis today that's going to be the most looked at. Because where she places this horse
I think she'll be aggressive. I think, she can be aggressive if she has to be.
Yeah.
And I think she's going to be sitting second here and hopefully run down Run Devil. But I'm not way against Run Devil. Run Devil's in good form.
Yeah.
I think she's very logical in here. I would sink or swim in the multis with both of them. If one of the closers beat them,
Yeah.
I would see with Mia Be a Star because I have mad love for her. So Reddington came out. You and I were joking about that earlier.
I'll be honest, I actually was really looking forward to seeing Reddington run.
See that, what you did to Greg by scratching Reddington? You've ruined his day. So let's take a look at Midnight Trouble, who I think was compromised a bit by the racetrack last time. He didn't have a bad trip. He did spend a lot of time on the inside before angling out. But when I say compromised, he was compromised because the winner had the run of the race in here. Now, the winner came back and did no running yesterday, and I feel like this was his day. But I just wonder if Midnight Trouble is really good enough.
I'm with you. And, this was a huge forward move, too, wasn't it, for this horse?
Yes. Though I liked him last time a lot. I thought, he was getting a dry track, too. His first dry track in a long time.
That's true. That's a good point.
And he had run good races earlier in his career.
He's had incredibly bad luck trying to get a fast track.
Well, but a lot of wet tracks. So have we.
It wouldn't shock me in this by any means. I just thought there were a few others to like in here. To be honest with you, I know we'll get to the 3 in a minute. I even thought that other half of the entry, Reddington, was the half that's being bet. The other half of the entry has run as fast figures the last couple of starts as he had.
He's not impossible in here. I don't disagree with you. He's coming from
Which are the fastest in the field, thoroughgraph-wise.
I think he is far from impossible in here. The problem with McCallum, who I have second here, and I agree is the horse to beat, man, he likes to lag. Oh. He's a weirder horse, man. He drops out of races like he's going to be eased. Yeah. He's had like 2 races where you would have bet there's a better chance he finishes he's eased than he's in the Super.
Yeah.
And he's made these crazy runs at the end.
He was so slow last time.
He's a plodding plotter.
He is going to keep coming. He's going to get a little more. He's going to get an extra 1/16 of a mile today. I do like that. I was off the bench.
Preakness distance here. You're excited by the Preakness distance?
I do like Preakness distance. Gets me excited about the Triple Crown coming up.
I
Look,
love
second off the bench. He's going to get a fast track. He's going to get more ground. All things to his benefit. And the last time he was, that race 2 starts back, he ran a huge race. Just look at his face, too.
He's
much better company.
On paper, based on competition, and keep in mind with that morning line, obviously the morning line at 8 to 5 was for Reddington.
Yeah.
He would have been, I don't know, I'm not sure, David can text me if he wants, Dave wouldn't have made McCallum 6 to 5 in this race if he knew the field that was in now. On the other hand, Reddington's presence oddly helps McCallum a little bit, right? Because with him not in the race, now there's significantly less speed, which helps horses like Midnight Trouble and Rungius. Both of those horses move forward, because they're going to be forward. And I even think my horse moves forward. Okay, I'm going to tell you why I picked Systemic Change, who, there is no question, his recent form leaves a lot to be desired. I looked up stats for Chad Brown with blinkers off. So I'm going to give a few of them. Just switching to blinkers off, he is 19 for 59 over the last 5 years, 32% with a 263 ROI. So he's got horses paying roughly $8, winning a third of the time. On the dirt, he's 7 for 18 with a 237 ROA. In routes, he's 16 for 49 on the overall 278. And on dirt, he's 5 for 10 with 7 hitting the board in dirt routes taking blinkers off. Mm-hmm. I just thought it's just kind of an interesting stat on a horse that at one time was good enough here, drops down. He was in for a tag last time. He was running against horses that are in a different galaxy than these last time out. He can be a little bit forward in here, so I'm going to take a shot with him. He'll be a Chad Brown horse at a slightly bigger price.
Okay.
I was hoping Rebington was in here because I wanted to bet against him.
First start of his 5-year-old campaign, makes a change. He'd shown talent before. With this equipment change, I love to see certain things. I love to see a horse with speed typically stretching out and going further, who's going to be alone in front. And that's probably not going to be the case with this horse. But
No.
it obviously works for Chad Brown, whatever he does with this move. So, yeah.
I just found all those stats sort of interesting, so I took them on top. Race number 7. So, Gentleman Joe, I think he's entered over the weekend. It's hard to keep track of all the different days. There's so many races coming up. We both have Life Changer on top. Why don't we talk about him first? I thought it was mostly the 5 and 6 in here. You don't like the 6?
You love gemography.
You don't like
It's
gemography
so-
because you know I love gemography.
It's
I
honestly
have a poster of him up
I
on my
can't
wall.
believe you didn't pick him because you picked him about
Because I knew I was
48
going
of
to be on the
51
show
times
with
he's
you.
run.
Why don't we show Gemography's terrible beat 2 races back when Royal Triss camped the rail to nail him after he fought the whole way? I didn't pick him because I knew I'd be on the show with you, and I figured that if I picked him, I'd have to hear that I just always pick Gemography, so I picked against him.
4
and
straight
then you
years
stole,
of
then
you
you
picking
stole
this
my
horse.
pick.
I actually become a fan. I mean, he's
He's a
fun
cool horse.
He
He's a
really
cool horse.
is. 550,000+ in earnings, 12 wins, 12 seconds. Tough beat for him. I felt bad for him in this race.
How'd you feel bad for me? I bet him too. It was terrible.
Well,
It was a
it's lock
crime.
and step. I think
And
him,
then
I
he
think
was
of
in a
you.
tougher spot last time out. He's logical, but why? I just feel like Life Changer is getting into a reasonable spot. He's just logical in here, isn't he?
You look at that last race. First of all, he's much better. 7 furlongs is his, what do you call it? That's his jam. I never say that, but I'm going to say it here.
I hate that
I do too. He's 3 for 4. I said it just for you.
And let me just say something. Our horses would be the first and second choices, I'm assuming, on the line. I don't think David was making Beachwalker 2-1 in here. So keep in mind that it would be more like 2-1 and 5-2.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I think just important to point out because Beachwalker's not 2-1. Gentleman Joe.
So you look at that race last time out, it was at 6 furlongs for 50. And he was getting actually to the winners in there. He wasn't going to win the race, but at least he was making up ground.
And they were the speeds.
And he's better at 7 furlongs. And he's going to get that extra furlong. 3 for 4, as I meant, or not 3 for 4, he's 3 for 7 at the distance. But I think there's no one better in this field at this distance than he is. I thought he showed a lot of will in that race last time out, trying to get to those horses. And the horse who won that race, Lost in Rome, that was, second off the claim
That
horse
was
for
Rick
Dutrow.
Dutrow. And they were 1-2 around the track.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, Sagamore Mischief's form has not been particularly good, and he's going to have to deal with gemography in the front end. Thunderian's going to have to refine form from a while ago to have any chance to be competitive. I mean, I think Lafitte's Fleet is a little dangerous,
I agree.
but, it was a rail track last time, but he spent an awful lot of time on the rail before angling out in his last start. So he had a pretty good trip overall that day, though he ran well.
And it was a soft group, too.
Yeah, I
wasn't it?
think he's a contender. I don't think Beachwalker is totally ridiculous in here either. The other thing about Lafitte's Fleet, he was claimed for 20 from Rudy. It's tough to claim from him. I thought Beachwalker had a little bit of a chance, but you need the race to
I
fall
am second.
apart.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe he will be shorter.
Gets
I
Joey
don't- yeah.
Freshwater 3 starts back. High Oak. I mean, that's a very tough race. Kinetic Sky, Nova Rags. That's some real, in terms of who everyone's faced.
No, only his last race, and he was backed up at the gate, so maybe something went wrong last time. It's Jacobson. He could definitely win. Race number 8 is a fun race to close out the card today, and I want to start with the horse you have on top, and I have second, Leading Contender, and Kuchar. I thought that Leading Contender was badly compromised because this was a huge gold rail, and because of that, Manny rode him in the race, and he was never on the rail, and he never, ever was able to get into a comfortable position.
The winner was good skate. He
Came up the inside.
He was about 3 wide early and then 5 to 6 wide in the stretch, Leading Contender. And yeah, as you said, at Track Trends that day, rail was very good that day. It's a big effort. And it was a muddy sealed track. Maybe he's better. He ran a 99 buyer with a huge.
Runs his race 2 back, he's going to
Yeah,
win.
I mean, no one has
He's
a
the
chance.
worst to
in it.
beat.
He's faced film. He was competitive against Film Star. He was second to the Woodward. Olympic Dreams. He is so very talented. It's a good horse.
I agree. I just didn't feel like picking him on top at a short price. And so I took the one Klarovich horse at a bigger price earlier today, and I bet against the shorts, but I have no issue against him at all. The thing is, No Burn ran great last time. I mean, I don't totally trust him to run back to it, but I'll tell you one thing. If he runs back to this race, and I know it's a wet track, but he's run very well on fast tracks before. It's not like he needs a wet track to run well.
But yeah, the Saratoga back was not far off this performance.
He's going to be very tough to beat in here. I mean, he lost a law professor in here and buried Olympic Dreams and gave law professor all he wanted in here.
Yeah, and Law Professor has not dropped a step coming back this year. He's
Big
as
win
good
next time.
as
Yep.
been the last couple of years.
So I thought he'd be a better price, and people might think it was a wet track. I just took him. I don't have a huge illusion leading contenders horse to beat. I wanted him as the other horse, though.
His best performances too are at this distance.
Yeah, I mean, you and I saw the race extremely similarly in here. The one thing I'll say is, what do you do with Rocco Strong and his last race? Because I don't know where it came from, but you're going to tell me if he runs back. I know it was a muddy track, but you tell me he runs back this race, he can't win here?
I look at who it was huge. It was huge. But you look at who
Overstep's
he
pretty
beat
good.
too. Yeah.
I mean, he's not the same
But it's Overstep and
Overstep.
McAllen. It's a much different group that he's going to.
He
Leading
destroyed
contender, no
them.
burn, are a lot better than those horses.
He ran, though. He ran.
He did.
Michelle Giangulio off a win in a dirt route, 1 for 12. That kind of bothered me. Overstep did run 10 buyer points slower, but he came back in that odd race weekend. Do you give DJ, who's the lone speed? I think DJ's going to be in front in here, don't you?
Yeah, it looks like it. No, I don't. Do I give him a chance?
I mean, he's the main speed. It's just a little hard to make him wire the field.
I have major concerns he can get the distance. And I have major concerns he has the quality.
I agree. I like to see Chuck Lawrence here. Yesterday's track, I don't think the rail was dead, but I do feel like it was a very outside flowy track. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be like that. And keep in mind, it had rained on Wednesday, so the track had maybe, it was fast, but it had been drying out. Be interesting to see if it's playing, how it's playing today, because it was a weird outside track yesterday.
Yeah.
A lot of big outside runs,
And then we had, as I had thought, we had a weak race where it looked like someone who was able to get that in that 2-year-old, or was it 3-year-old filly race where Maker had the favorite who'd won 2 in a row coming in.
She ran big.
I felt like that race, if someone was able to get the lead in that race, they were going to be tough.
Let me ask you a question. After the 2 horses were eased in a row at Saturday for Maker, 2 very logical types, the Pineapple Horse and then Maker's Candy, and then the Florence That Horse, are we supposed to be keeping an eye on the Maker horses and waiting for them to start running well again?
That horse should never have been the price that she was.
Well, that
I
was
thought
a-
was the craziest
I'll
overbet
bet you.
favorite.
I'll bet you that the Thoroughgraphs had that horse's number crappy last time.
Very.
Yeah, that was.
I know it was an incredibly slow track.
That was one where I think Beyer moved the speed figure up. Listen, I don't envy speed figure makers of any kind on the tracks that we've had here
149,
this
I
year.
think, for the mile.
Yeah, because we have had some very, very goofy racetracks here, and they can be changing maybe throughout the day at different times. And I don't think there's any speed figure maker that has said throughout this winter, boy, I'm really confident about my figs today. And there have been some numbers which I'm sure everybody's gotten races wrong. And that was when I think Beyer got it wrong. It should have been much lower.
Yeah.
So I don't think that horse underperforming yesterday meant anything.
Okay. No, I agree with you.
Yeah, I think that horse just, as you say, should not have been a heavy favorite. Didn't matter. I didn't take the winner anyway. Greg, thanks. Oh, we got a big important phone call we have to get to, right?
Yes, we
They're
do.
waiting.
They're waiting for
They're
us
waiting
to finish
for
this
us.
up.
Waiting impatiently for us. Head over to Naira Bets. Use the promo code bonus 200. We'll match with $200 of your initial deposit. We have track facts. I can't believe I missed that. I always make that. Track stats, excuse me. Check them out at nairabets.com as well. We have a cross-country pick 5. The last 3 here, and 8 and 9. The last 2 will be showing on America's Day at the Races. And speaking of America's Day at the Races, 3 to 6, 3 to 4:30 on FS1, 4:30 to 6 on FS2. Greg and I will be on the desk. We look forward to seeing you. You'll see us. We won't see you. Greg, thanks.
Yep, had fun.
Got to rush to that phone call. Have a great day. Chris Griffin up next, the reprise of the scratches and changes.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.